All right, I'm looking at page 62 in your workbook, and it's about putting questions and conclusions together. That's what we need to be able to do for our report that we do in the end. I'm just going to do a bit of a summary over everything just to have a look at. And here's our PPDAX cycle that we've been looking at. And you can see there that, we start with our problem, and we have our plan, our data, our analysis, and then we have conclusion. So this exercise is really looking at matching up these two things, the problem and the conclusion. And so the problem is where we state our problem, and the conclusion is where we answer the problem. And so that's what we need to do in this exercise. And here's the marking criteria that I'll be using to mark your assessment. And you can see here's the problem, and there's a couple little criteria that I'll check off here, and then for the conclusion there's criteria that I'll check off here. And so I'm going to use those. I've just snipped those and put them over here next to some stuff that I've done here. So you can see there's the conclusion and there's the problem, or the question. And so for this first particular question, you can see that I've got some data here. I've written some points over here, which I'll come to in a minute. But this diagram here, you can see that this median is outside that box, and this median is outside this box. So I can make the call that the males are larger than the females here. I will be able to make that call. But when we look at the question, it's talking about the heights of 50 males and 50 females of Year 13 Paradise High School kids. And so I need to write a question, and these are the things that I need to be able to do. I need to state the variable, and this be numeric. There's two groups, the direction, where the one's bigger than the other, and the population. And you can see here that I've done that. I wonder if the heights, centimetres, of the male students tend to be taller than the female students from Year 13 Paradise High School students. You can see the green is variable, the two groups, male students and female students, direction to be taller, population in blue. And look, from the marking criteria, I've got the population, I've got the variable of interest, and I should have units in there. So the variable of interest is the heights in centimetres, and the two groups, the males and females, and the idea of a tendency. So I've said they tend to be taller. Okay, so that's that bit. And then I need to make a matching conclusion. And in this one, we already know that because the median is outside the middle 50% of the other one, then I can make the call. So I need to let's have a look at the criteria. The criteria says that it answers the original investigative question consistently with the data. So it needs to be the right call. And it only makes the call if one median is outside the box of the other group. Otherwise, you say it's too close to call. And you have to show an understanding that there's a difference between the sample and population. Let's see if my little answer I wrote before was going to do that. We can be fairly sure that back in the population of Year 13 students at Paradise High School, the male students tend to be taller than the female students. So, yep, that matches up with my question. Check, I've done the first thing. This is because in this sample, the median height, 169, for male students, there we go, that median height, is above the middle 50%. You could say box if you wanted to. For female students, it is, because there's the middle 50% here. The female upper quartile is 167. You can see that, the upper quartile, because it's kind of like the boundary of where it happens. And the median height for the female students, 164, is below the box of the male students. And it tells me that the male lower quartile is here. And you can see that those numbers are backing that up. So let's check our criteria. Yep, the original question has been answered, and I've made the call based on the medians being outside the box. And Israel understands the difference between sample and population. Yeah, what I've said is, I can be fairly sure about the population because in this sample, so I've talked about, from the sample, I can make decisions about what's happening in the wider population.